they wound up trailing by as many as 34 and losing this game 127-97. As we welcome you inside Warriors wrap up here tonight on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson from Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. And let's react to this one. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here as we'll keep this thing going as long as the people want to talk about it on this Saturday night. And it got ugly for the Warriors in a big-time way. Again, after it seemed as if the Warriors had withstood an early Laker start to this game, it was the D'Angelo Russell show as he scored the Lakers' first 11 points, an 11-4 lead for the Lakers right off the top there. But then it was all Warriors from that point on in flipping the game, and it felt with the Warriors up 30-23 into the first quarter as if they had withstood that initial burst as the Lakers flipped things back to their home floor here for Game 3 and Game 4, and the Warriors would then push in the second quarter the lead all the way up to 40-29, and the Lakers were frustrated. The Warriors looked like they were able to do a lot of the things that they had success with in Game 2, which turned out to be a blowout in Golden State's favor. But then things flipped. The Warriors had a chance to go up 13. Steph Curry hit Klay Thompson with a pass in which Klay wasn't looking, wasn't running. Probably goes for a layup if those two are in sync at that point, and the Warriors push the lead to 13. But it ends up a turnover in what would be just a turnover-marred second quarter and a 12-minute stretch where the Warriors from the 7:35 mark of quarter number 2 until that very same point in quarter number 3 would score just 12 points in 12 minutes, a 22-2 Lakers run as part of that stretch. It went from Warriors up 11 to the Lakers up 9 at 51-42. Just turnovers, fouls, then frustration and missed shots, and the officiating maybe getting the better of the Warriors. They did go on a 6-0 run late to cut it to 51-48, but then the Lakers end up with the final 8 of the second quarter, and the Lakers wound up going in at the half with the 59-48 cushion, and the Warriors tried to make a couple of pushes there in the first 4 minutes, but just couldn't buy a bucket, and they wind up calling it off basically early fourth quarter, and the Lakers put it on the Warriors 41-29 in the fourth, and they win by 30 after the Warriors win by 27 in Game 2. So the Lakers lead the series 2-1. It's back to the drawing board for the Warriors with, again, a quick turnaround, just the 1 day off in between games, as is going to be the case for the entirety of this series. And the worst playoff loss for the Warriors since Game 5 in this same round last year in Memphis back on May the 11th. Of course, you remember the Game 5 where everybody was dancing in Memphis, and the Warriors, it got so ugly with the 3-1 lead for them in that series that they were dancing with the crowd before heading back to the Bay and putting the Grizzlies away in that Game 6 and moving on to the conference finals. This one got to that level of ugly, believe it or not, in the second half of the Warriors. 97 points, their lowest point total in this postseason, second time under 100, and the other time they were under 100 was the 99 in the awful Game 6 where the Kings came back after the Warriors had taken that 3-2 series advantage to tie it at 3 games apiece. So a decent start for the Warriors, again, making their way through the D'Angelo Russell hot start, but then just turnovers. And you look around at the end of the night tonight, some similar problems that the Warriors had in Game 1 of this series as far as the free throw disparity and the fouls and seemingly being frustrated with the officiating. But really the story of this one is not a lot of ball movement for the Warriors, not a lot of shot making for the Warriors. We talked about it earlier today, the fact that the Warriors were probably going to have to withstand a game or two where they don't hit the three-pointer at the clip that they were in those first 2 games, 21 in Game 1, 21 in Game 2. That was not going to be realistic to expect that level, especially at the 50% clip that they hit the 21 three-pointers in Game 2. That was not going to be something that was going to be sustainable. And tonight, 13 of 44. But it really was the turnovers that helped flip this game in the Lakers' favor in that middle of the second quarter. And then the whistle got tough. And then the Warriors were missing shots, and then they were starting to get frustrated, and the whole thing kind of snowballed on them. Again, it ended up being a 36-18 Laker second quarter to go in with the 11-point lead at the half, but 27 points off turnovers. That's just not going to cut it, and that helps the Lakers, a team that themselves have been offensively deficient at times in this series, just get more comfortable. The extra easy buckets that help the Lakers in this game. And the Lakers had a hot three-point shooting game for them. They were probably due for a better three-point shooting night than they had in the first two, definitely, and the Warriors due for a colder one. But I really do think this is a missed opportunity for the Warriors when you look back on it and where the game was there early in the second quarter with that lead and seemingly an ability to maybe snuff out what the Lakers had done to the Warriors in game one and make game three kind of an extension of what game two had turned into. And so, I thought the Warriors were getting a decent whistle. I know a lot of Warrior fans want to probably talk about the officials, and look, I'm here for you if you want to talk about it, but I put it out on Twitter in the fourth quarter. I don't think tonight's about the officials. I really don't. And you can make the case, all right, the game changed, but to me, this game's more about the Warriors playing terribly from the moment they were up 40-29 in the middle of the second quarter, and not the officiating. So I'm here for you if you want to get into it, but I think as far as the pecking order of topics and reasons and things that need to be fixed, yes, the free throw disparity can't be 37-17, but this thing was getting away from the Warriors far before the officiating kind of turned on them in that second quarter. And that was, to me, more part of the avalanche than it was the reason by which the Lakers started to change the game. Because the Warriors had the Lakers stymied for the first really 13 to 17 minutes, and the whistle was decent, and then the Warriors basically gave it all away on a platter with the turnovers and the fouls, and then the whistle changed, and then the Warriors lost their composure to the tune of 4 technical fouls in the first half, and it all just kind of turned very quickly into a very frustrating evening here at Crypto.com Arena. All right, 888-957-9570. What are you optimistic about? What are you pessimistic about? Give me your game 4 adjustments, because this thing is a quick turnaround. I've got one just right off the top. I think the JaMychal Green in the starting lineup experiment, which did work for the Warriors in game 2 of this series, I think that's done. I think that's over with. And not to put tonight on JaMychal Green, but 1 for 5, 0 of 3 from 3. If he's not hitting, it plays, I think, into the Lakers' hands, and the Warriors didn't play particularly well in those first couple of minutes of the game when JaMychal Green was out there. If anything, it was the bench group toward the back half of the first quarter that really turned things in the Warriors' favor to where they wound up ahead by 7 at the end of quarter number 1. All right, let's get to the phones. 888-957-9570. We'll get it started with Caprice tonight here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Caprice?
Hey, John, what's going on? How I feel about this game is that I'm going to say that the Warriors deserved and didn't deserve to lose tonight. The reason why they deserved it is because, John, you up 11 points, man. You're up 11 on the road. You don't, that's inexcusable. You know what I'm saying? That was super inexcusable. And then that's when, the rest started to get into it. It's just, I got frustrated because when I talk about the free throw disparity, it's like the Lakers are allowed to be physical, but Golden State is not allowed to be physical. And I feel like the free throw disparity is ridiculous. This is the playoffs. Let us play. You know what I mean? I just thought it was ridiculous. And then, on top of that, Now people are saying that Moody's a dirty player because even when Moody got that flagrant one, he tried to trip Anthony Davis. When that wasn't the case, it was like, okay, so Moody's being called dirty when he didn't even grab Anthony Davis. But what Dennis Schroeder did to Draymond Green, that was just called a coming foul. I'm not saying personally that the Warriors lost this game due to the officials because they were up 11. That's on them. But the thing is that the free throw disparity did play a part in it.
It did once the Warriors gift wrapped the 11-point lead turning into a deficit. And look, we all know Moses Moody's not a dirty player. I do think that should have been a flagrant foul. Anytime you grab an opponent's leg in a situation like that, I think it's a flagrant foul. Now, should Schroeder have gotten a flagrant foul? Yes. Should Sabonis have gotten a flagrant foul in the series against Sacramento when Draymond ended up stomping him? Yes, he probably should have in that situation. So I'm not absolving the other incidents and then saying that tonight's incident was different. To me, by rule, they all should have been flagrant foul penalty ones. But no, I mean, Moses Moody hasn't played enough in the NBA to this point in his career to be considered a dirty player. And while by rule book, that's probably a flagrant foul, I don't really think it was a dirty play. But anytime you are grabbing the leg of an opponent or you get tangled up with an opponent in that particular situation, you're going to have people that are going to start to kind of wonder a little bit. But as far as that goes, that was part of that momentum changing sequence, really, or set of sequences after the Warriors had pushed the lead to 40-29. Turnovers allowing the Lakers to hang around. It was 8 turnovers midway through the second quarter. The Warriors already had 8 turnovers. The Lakers had 9 points off those turnovers. And just in a blink, the Lakers cut the lead from 11-6. And then the Moody play happens with the foul against Anthony Davis. And all of a sudden it's a 13-0 run. And the Warriors' 11-point lead is a 2-point deficit. The Warriors were able to tie the game right after that. But then it was 9 straight from there for the Lakers, and it ends up being a 22-2 run. JaMychal Green picks up a technical. Draymond Green had picked up a technical. The Warriors were just really frustrated as far as how everything went here in that stretch, and they let it get away from them. And again, I think it was a missed opportunity given the fact that they had the Lakers stymied, and I don't think to that point in the game the officiating was really impacting much. Now you can make the case once the Warriors got down, then the whistle changed a little bit, and then obviously they were really frustrated with the officiating from that point as the game was getting away from them. The turnovers were continuing, and then the Warriors, who had been hot at least after the 11-4 start, they had gotten a little hot, went completely cold for the rest of the night, and it turned into kind of an all-systems fail for the remainder of the night, and that's where you end up losing 127-97 to trail in the series 2-1. 888-957-9570. Let's go ahead and pause for our station ID here at the top of the 9 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
All right, John Dickinson back at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Lakers 127, Warriors 97. LA leads the best-of-7 series 2-1, so the Warriors will have to try and even things right back in this building on Monday after a day of practice. I know the Warriors had been scheduled to have practice. We'll see if they're still going to have a formal practice tomorrow or whether they turn it into just a film session at the team hotel. But the original plan, I was told, was that they were going to have a practice, get some shots up type of a day over at UCLA. But we'll see. Again, sometimes plans change when a game gets ugly the way that this one did for the Warriors. But what are your Game 4 adjustments? What do you feel good about? What do you feel bad about? Because I know a lot of Warrior fans were feeling really good about the things they were able to accomplish in Game 2 as they were leading to Game 3. But I think a lot of that now is snuffed out. The team that loses always, it's on them to make the adjustment, and the Lakers made some adjustments in this game, but again, I think the Warriors gift-wrapped that comeback from down 11 when the Warriors really had the Lakers, I think for the first time in this series, maybe starting to doubt whether or not they could quite keep up with the Warriors' pace and skill level and some of the small ball lineups that the Warriors were going to. But again, Warriors let them off the hook. Lakers seized control of the game, and then it completely turned into the worst parts of what game one was for the Warriors in this second half. And now the Lakers have the utmost amount of confidence. Anthony Davis did his thing again. They may have found something in Lonnie Walker IV, who was added to the rotation after not playing in the rotation in the first couple of games of the series. That one surprised me. I thought maybe Malik Beasley would be that guy that Darvin Ham would go to. But no, it was Lonnie Walker IV who put a positive imprint on the game. Schroeder was more efficient. D'Angelo Russell had a nice game, much more in line with game one compared to where he was in game two of this series. And now, Vanderbilt, they switched him onto Draymond Green, which allowed him to help a lot more in this game defensively, which I think as the Warriors bogged down and started turning it over and missing shots, allowed him to be more impactful as well. All right, back to the phones. Idris and Hayward next here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, Idris? What's on your mind? What's got you the most concerned tonight following this defeat?
I honestly, I saw, I'm like, LeBron James looks like he took the first quarter off. Looks like AD's not really trying to be enforcing other than a bunch of Russell threes that he's not going to be making all night. We're up 13, and then that flagrant foul happened, and it seemed like we just completely lost all discipline. We gave into our emotions. Even Jordan Poole was having a good game. But here's the thing that really frustrated me. Draymond Green gets in foul trouble. And we don't see JaMychal Green the rest of the game. And it was probably because he got that technical. But with Looney on the floor, the Lakers' defense literally just suffocated us. We had the turnovers. Clay was shooting well. Everything looked good. And then it just went completely 180. And I'm kind of putting this on Kerr because at some point you have to take control of your team and say, hey, we can win this. But it seemed like he just left the team hanging like we're going to figure it out and challenge plays that aren't going to get. And, like, the fact that I didn't see JaMychal Green the rest of the game because they didn't have to honor the floor. And then it was that was it. And I agree with you. Eventually the refs were giving them the calls, but we play. I cannot believe – I don't even know what just happened right now. It's a throwaway game, but it was just no discipline whatsoever. This one I'm going to put on Steve Kerr to just letting it slip. But other than that, we gotta win the next game now. But isn't that the seesaw effect? God bless you. Take care.
Yeah, appreciate it, Idris. Yeah, it is a throwaway game now. I mean, anytime you get beat by 30, I'm more looking at, hey, the big three's got to play well. I mean, I look at this and it's, Steph ends up 9 for 21, 3 turnovers. Klay Thompson had 6 turnovers. Klay Thompson had more turnovers than he had field goals made in the game. I mean, minus 23. Like this, Steph, Klay, and Draymond get the praise when the Warriors are winning. And I think they have to take and own the brunt of why this game got away. And, they collectively didn't play well. As far as, not seeing more of JaMychal Green, if JaMychal Green's not making shots, he really isn't somebody that you want to stick with too long in this matchup. And he was making shots Thursday night, and so Kerr stuck with them, but really only for the first 6 minutes of each half. It was basically one shift in each half. So with Draymond getting in the foul trouble, do you go back to JaMychal Green at that point? Do you go smaller? Do you try to go to Kevon Looney at that point? I mean, I think all of those things are questions. This has not been a Kevon Looney series in these last couple of games, and I know that the illness, I think, was part of it in game 2, but also JaMychal Green played better than he did, so it worked out in the Warriors' favor. I don't know if Kevon, I know they said he was feeling 100%, but he's somebody that's just susceptible to some of the athleticism and the size of the Lakers, and also just his inability to be an offensive threat, I think, makes him a more vulnerable player against this Lakers team when they're looking for players that can be on the floor that are that they can help off of, or that aren't potentially going to make them pay. And I think that's made Looney a tough play in the game tonight, most definitely. All right, Kurt in Dublin next. 888-957-9570. Let's keep it rolling on the phones. Warriors get blown out. Lakers smoke them really for the final 2.5 quarters of this one. Kurt is next on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Extremely disappointed with tonight's effort. I think it's one of the biggest losses we've had in this entire playoff run with this group. The main reason, as you've always said, is that we gave that game away. We were in control, and we were doing the things that we did all last game to keep us in control, and then we just fell apart. It is a drive and kick game. Curry has to get into the paint, and he's got to kick the ball out. He is not able to try to finish with Davison, or Davis is just too good and will block those shots. And whoever Davis is guarding, if it's Looney and he's not a threat to receive the ball and score, he's got to go set screens to get guys who can score because no one's guarding him. So when he sets those screens, no one will be there to come when we come off them. So it's just disappointing because they know what they needed to do to win, and we were doing that. And then we got up, and it just felt like they almost thought it was a regular season game. And they got into, it's easy, we're going to go back into all of those mistakes we made this year and just open the doors for the Lakers. And that's why it's extremely disappointing. But if you're talking about things to look forward to, when our team gets down and gets embarrassed like this, they come back and fight. After we lost to the Kings in Game 6, they were embarrassed. They came back and they fought. Hopefully this is enough of a kick in the pants to get us refocused so we can focus beyond the first quarter and play a full 4 quarters. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. I'm reluctant to call it a let-up, but it's just a let-up in focus, I think, which is the most disappointing thing of all of it. I agree with you on the drive and kick component of the offense. I think as far as starting to look at adjustments moving forward, the Warriors are going to have to go smaller, I think. And we'll see, Jordan Poole up and down. He looked really locked in tonight, and even though he wasn't playing great consistently, he looked more locked in early, and then when everything went off the rails for the Warriors collectively as a team, everything kind of went off the rails for Jordan Poole as well in this game. And so I don't know what the move is. They didn't get as much from Dante DiVincenzo tonight. I mean, he just can't consistently make a shot, which is really problematic. And, you're looking at coming off of Game 2. Well, maybe you can play DiVincenzo more if Poole doesn't have it. Tonight, neither one of them ended up playing well. Moses Moody, I thought, had his worst game of the playoffs, really. I mean, he had been somebody that had been a positive, playable player since Steve Kerr went to him in Game 2 in Sacramento of the first-round series. And so, overarching theme as you start to move forward is the Warriors are going to have to be led by their best players. And so I keep coming back to that, but I do think they're going to have to at some point, and the Warriors are typically reluctant to do this until Game 4 or 5 in a playoff series. Well, here we are approaching Game 4, that pivot point, that midpoint with the Warriors desperately needing a win to even things up going back to San Francisco for Game 5. But I think they're going to have to maybe look to go small and not start Looney or JaMychal Green. Just put Draymond on Anthony Davis from the start. Try to avoid foul trouble and really try to ignite the pace and space against this Lakers team and really try to run them, because the one thing now the Warriors have by virtue of the blowouts in these couple of games is the Lakers have been able to rest. Both the blowout win and the blowout loss have given the Lakers, LeBron James only played 32 tonight. Davis played 33, but their others are 29 for Reeves, 29 for Russell. And so they got a little bit of the rest tonight with the back-and-forth nature, so to where they can now go all in on trying to get Game 4 themselves. All right, 888-957-9570. Let's keep it going with Hassan in Dublin. From Kurt to Hassan in Dublin here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's up tonight, Hassan?
Thank you for taking my call. I'm an avid listener of your show.
Thank you.
I am actually, we are disappointed that you lost, but it's one of those games, that you were right there with it, and thing happened. I think there was just one play in my mind where the game flipped, and that's when Steph passed the ball to Clay, and he wasn't looking in. Clay got the pass, it was been a 15-point lead, and most probably Lakers take a timeout, and the game would be different. But in any case, and I agree with you, we'll have to go small. As much as Moody had a bad game, but I think it has to be Moody or Dante to start instead of JaMychal because they can finish. And I like Dante better because he can get the rebounds. Moody can shoot the three from the corners. I think we'll bounce back from Game 4, and that's the beautiful part about playoffs. Sometimes overthinking also makes things worse. Things were working, and we let this one go from our hand, and Lakers jumped on it. D'Lo had a great start, 13-0. I don't think it's going to happen again in the whole series. So let's keep our morale high, and we believe. I think Steph was frustrated during the game because he's so much used to playing off the ball, and I think having another good ball handler and getting stuff going on will be the really key. And I think that shooting a threat from three sides will be critical. Thank you for taking my call, and please look forward for your comments. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan. I definitely think they have to go small and try to get another scoring threat on the floor and just get the court spread out a little bit for the Lakers defensively to try and basically put some pressure on the Lakers to match the Warriors' offensive ability when they go to that lineup. And I think it also opens the game up, and it makes it harder for the Lakers to be patient enough to get the ball on the interior to try and get the foul calls that the Lakers need in a lot of these games to be able to hang in and hang with the Warriors. So I think it's twofold. It's you want to get your offensive game in rhythm, and I think you look at the 97 points tonight, it ended up ugly both ways, but I think the Warriors were doing fine defensively until they started fouling, and until their offense put the defense in a bad position with all of the easy, just it wasn't just turnovers. It was just some of the most just god-awful turnovers you'll ever see. The live ball, open court turnovers that lead to buckets going the other way, 27 points off the 19 turnovers, and this was exactly what we talked about as far as what were the potential problems for the Warriors or things that you worried about. There are two things that we talked about today on Warriors this week. It was might not have the hot shooting game that you've had, and the Warriors didn't have the hot shooting that they had, and you don't want to have it to be one of those games where you're just loose with the ball and you're kicking it all around the joint to give the Lakers easy opportunities. And it's exactly what happened. They started off shooting it okay, and then they turned it over, and then they started fouling, and then the Lakers got back into a rhythm after the D'Lo spurt to open the game, and the Warriors had seemingly taken control to be up 40-29, and then the Warriors lost their composure, and then they went cold, and then they just couldn't get it back at any turn. The Lakers push it up in the third quarter to 14, 15 points. The Warriors do try to come back and answer. The Wiggins dunk that we played off the top helped them get a little closer. Curry got a putback that made it a 10-point game, but then Schroeder hits a three, another turnover. It's back up to 15 at that point, and then the Lakers end up with a 27-20 third quarter, and they push it up even farther from there, eventually lead by as many as 34 and go on to win it 127-97. All right, John Dickinson back here at Crypto.com Arena, 888-957-9570. As we continue on the phone lines, give me your Game 4 adjustment. I'm going small in the starting lineup. I'm not going to start Looney or JaMychal Green on Monday night. I think you probably go with Jordan Poole in the starting lineup and just hope that the spacing allows everyone to get into a flow. I know Jordan Poole didn't have his best game again tonight, but it comes down to you have to trust your trustables to the best you can. And I think that's going to be Steph, Clay, and Draymond. It's going to be Wiggins. You got to pick your fifth at this point. And I think as up and down as Jordan Poole has been, and it's been mostly down, he's still the guy that gives you the best chance at potentially having a big game among the DiVincenzo, Moody, Peyton II, Kuminga group. And so I think you start there. and you move forward and you try to get the offense cooking in that way, and you try to open the game up to maybe prevent the Lakers from trying to draw as many fouls as they've had to this point in the series. Jimmy in Bayview next on Warriors Wrap Up. What's going on, Jimmy?
Hey, JD, thanks for taking my call. I think the Warriors had them dead in the water. They were penetrating. They were getting shots in the lane. They were the aggressors. And then, like you said, the wheels fell off. They got to be able to pull themselves out of these, like, mistake whirlpools. Like, you know, the turnover, the technicals. I will say it was frustrating because I thought a lot of those calls against Draymond Green were offensive fouls, and it's going to be problematic guarding Anthony Davis if they're redefining what an offensive foul is. I think Kerr's got to politic a little. It was frustrating to watch, but I do agree they do need some more offense in there, but I don't think they should surrender the lane to them. They were doing a good job taking it to them, and then, you know, the wheels fell off. I think the officials started sympathizing with the Lakers, and it all kind of went downhill. And they got to figure out, they're a veteran team. They got to figure out how to keep themselves out of those downward spirals. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. I mean, it's been really the story of this season, I think, in many ways. You know, every time it looks as if the Warriors are really going to turn the corner and get on a big-time run, they don't. Every time it looks like this team's dead in the water, they come back and they show everybody they're not quite dead in the water. And we saw that in the last series, and maybe we're going to see that. At least it's on track to potentially see that if the Warriors can bounce back and win on Monday. Look, I made the point earlier on the show that I didn't want to make it about the officiating, and I understand the frustration from the Warriors on some of the calls. I understand some of the frustration from the Warrior fan base with the overall disparity, which was much more in line with what we saw in Game 1 as opposed to Game 2, where it was basically even. And then you look at the total fouls, total fouls tonight, 22 called against the Warriors, 21 against the Lakers. So it's even in that respect. But the types of fouls and the Lakers' ability to get to the free throw line 20 more times and have a 16-point advantage in terms of free throw points, like, I get it. Like, I get if you're a Warrior fan, you're upset, you're frustrated about that, you think you didn't get a whistle. But to me, it was more about the Warriors played horribly once they got the lead, and it was about the fourth thing that kind of started to go against them on top of everything else. And so to me, it's like, let's not make that the story tonight. It's much more, if you want to make it the story when you lose by 5 in a game where you out hit them from 3 by 15 3-pointers, and we can talk about it more openly then. I just think tonight is more, did you play a winning game or did you play a losing game? And I think the Warriors were playing a winning game for about 17 minutes, and then it completely flipped, and they played a losing game for the remainder of this one. And so the officiating, frustrating as it may have been in some key moments where maybe the Warriors could have hung in the game, I just don't think it was about that tonight. I really don't. And I think if I'm the Warriors, I'm almost trying to say, hey, you know what? Forget it. Like it's an easy one to forget about, the officiating, because you ended up losing by 30 anyway, and you did so many other things. And you also know that it can, from game to game, be a different story if you're the aggressor. I mean, again, I don't think the officials were really a factor at all when the Warriors were up 11. But once the game got tied and the Lakers got ahead, then things kind of snowballed the other direction. But I just don't want to put tonight on the officiating. And if you want to bring up the officiating, bring it up as like the 4th or the 5th most important thing when you try to evaluate the way this game ultimately played out. All right, that guy in the city is next here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, that guy?
Hey, JD, I appreciate you taking my call tonight. Just a couple of thoughts and then a couple of assessments, if you give me a second here. The other night I called you when you were doing the post after Game 2. I think I was like the last caller of the night, and I was asking you your take on I said this is like a heavyweight bout, a chess match, if you will. Making adjustments on both sides going into this game, because in the playoffs, I'm of the mindset that you can't just rest on the laurels. You can't just say, well, we won this game, we're going to have JaMychal start again and see what happens. I mean, the approach should be, in my opinion anyway, every game of a playoff should be played as if it was Game 7, because you don't have games to lose. You don't have time to give. You want to finish it as soon as possible so you can rest. And what we talked about, you said that the Lakers would probably make some adjustments, of course, but the Warriors would probably kind of keep it the way it is. But, going into that, I thought it was a bad take, and I told your producer, I said they should have started. If they were expecting, meaning the Lakers, JaMychal to start tonight, they should have went with Draymond tonight. You got to throw a wrinkle in there. It's the playoffs, and you can't just go with, what got you here. So, and as far as that goes, I agree with you on the next game. I think they got to go small right off the bat. They got to go with starting center Draymond and then take it from there. But the assessment I have on this team here is, they were only down by 11. Yeah, they were collapsing here at the end of the second quarter. They were only down by 11 at halftime. And I put a lot of that on the coaching staff, because they just let it continue to snowball. At some point, you got to say, hey, get your head out of your butt. You're only down by 11. You're lucky you're not down by 21. And let's go. You make the changes. You had an entire half. And unfortunately, it's not the Warriors of old where they come out and you were almost guaranteed a big third quarter. So there's that. And also, do you realize in this whole postseason, there was only one time the Warriors didn't either play from behind, meaning a game or two, or tied, and that was Game 6 when they were up 3-2 on Sacramento. The rest of the time, they played from behind or tied the whole time. And once again, we go into Monday night in a must-win situation. How do you think that plays out? Because eventually James is going to have a big game, or Reeves is going to have a big game, and then you're playing with fire there, JD. What do you think on that? I appreciate you taking my call, man. Have safe in LA. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You are playing with fire. You're right, because eventually, the game that you're looking to have to bounce back, if you're not hitting shots, or somebody else has a hot game, or things get away from you emotionally based on a tough stretch, then the dam breaks and you go down 3-1, and you're in big trouble at that point, or you wind up unable to stop it when you're down 3-2, and you're maybe in this same kind of situation back here in a Game 6 if you have to be. And that's just the nature of this season for the Warriors, unfortunately. They're not quite as good. They've been battling. They show the championship pedigree, but they've also shown everybody that the same team that they've been all year on the bad side. And right when you think they're about to seize control, that's when it goes back the other way. I mean, the back and forth, the yo-yo has been here all year long. And look, I get what you're saying, that guy, about making the adjustment first. But I also think you don't want to overthink. JaMychal Green was productive in Game 2. It wasn't just that JaMychal Green played and he did okay and you won, so you stuck with it. Like, if JaMychal Green had played the game tonight that he played on Thursday night and the Warriors had won the game, but he was 1 for 5 and didn't really have much of an impact, well, then to me, you're right. At that point, you do make an adjustment, even though you won the game. He had 15 points and made 3 threes. And so I think, to me, you ride that out. It was only the first 5 or 6 minutes. The Warriors didn't play great in that first 5 or 6 minutes, but they hung in there. He got out of the game, and the guys who came in the game ended up turning the corner to where the Warriors were, I think, down 7, and then they ended up 7 at the end of the first quarter. So I think at that point, it really didn't matter all that much. But yeah, moving forward, as far as the adjustments go, to me, it's you got to play small. I mean, Looney is your backup center now. Maybe you're going to play a little JaMychal Green, but Draymond, I think, has to be the starter. He has to be focused like he was in Game 2. You have to try and spread the Lakers out and run them and get the offense going and dare the Lakers to keep up with you if you get your offense going. And don't turn it over, and get your spacing right, and try to attack it that way. Try to attack it to see if they can keep up and get the interior buckets that they need. If they're patient enough with the game more scattered to work it in the paint and draw all those fouls and all of that, that the time has come for that in Game 4. All right, 888-957-9570. We'll pause here. We'll come back. We'll get more phone calls. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll get your secret sauce of the game as well as the Lakers thump the Warriors 127-97. And you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
At West Credit Union, we're working towards a brighter financial future for both our members and our community, knowing that when you succeed, we all succeed. That starts with a solid financial foundation. As a credit union, we have no stockholders demanding profits. Our commitment is to our members. Experience the difference with our Money Market Max Bonus promotion, offering a cash incentive for letting us protect and grow your money. West Credit Union, working for you. Today, tomorrow, together. West Credit Union is insured by NCUA.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
"Sweetie, you haven't touched your..."
energy. And so I think that's the calculus that Steve Kerr is going to have to figure out here over the course of the next couple of days. But I do think going smaller is where it's at for the Warriors. And if that means maybe some Kuminga Draymond lineups 4-5 when Wiggins is not in the game, I think potentially you could see some of that. I'm not as down on giving the kid a shot in this series as I was in the Sacramento series, but it has to be better than it was in the Sacramento series. Otherwise, it could get ugly very quickly. All right, Jan in Mountain View next here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on tonight, Jan?
Not too much. Thank you for taking my call. I was just concerned as to why perhaps Kerr didn't have a plan B, a backup plan. I mean, he started with the same lineup as he did on Thursday night. That's fine, but when things started to get away in the second quarter and we were going into the second half, I didn't see any kind of adjustment to my understanding, and the more I looked at it, it didn't seem like, it just let the Lakers just keep adding to their lead and getting this game out of hand. And I would think he'd have a plan B to lean back on and to try and get that lead back. And we're going into a real important game here on Monday night, and I sure hope he turns this around. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, you got it, Jan. It's going to be different on Monday night. I'd be stunned if the Warriors don't have a different starting lineup on Monday night, and I think they're going to go small. I would think it's going to be Jordan Poole with Steph and Clay and Wiggins and Draymond Green, and they're going to try to speed the game up from there. They're going to separate Draymond and Looney. Hell, maybe even Looney gets less time. I think Moody will continue to be an option. I think Kuminga, we'll see. I know I spent some time talking about him because Shaka brought him up. But as far as not having a backup plan in this game, I don't know. I think the initial plan was working in this game. So yes, it got away fast, but it got away in a manner that I don't really think anybody could have anticipated when you look at the Warriors having that 40-29 lead, and then they start kicking the ball, throwing the ball all around the building. The Steph pass to Clay where Clay wasn't looking for it. That ends up turning into this 22-2 run, and then all of a sudden the Warriors can't score. And they can't score for basically the rest of the game off of that. And I think they got impatient. I think they got undisciplined. I think they got frustrated. I think they were ticked off about the officiating at that point, and they just couldn't quite get it back on track. I think as far as, doing something different in the second half, maybe you could have gone away from JaMychal Green there and gone with a little more offense. But I think at this point, it was still only an 11-point game at the break. And so I think what Steve Kerr was hoping is that things would stabilize the way that they stabilized in the first quarter, and you'd get back in the game and you could stay on the normal plan and still have enough to make a run down the stretch. It didn't happen. They got down 16. They were still turning it over. When they didn't turn it over, they were missing shots. When they were making shots, they were committing fouls on the other end or picking up technicals, or calls were getting overturned, or their challenges were not getting overturned. Like all of that stuff wound up being a part of the equation as well in this game. But it just went awry in many different ways, and Coach Kerr couldn't get it back on track. But again, you got to look at your best players in this thing. What can Steve Kerr do? Well, there's not a lot Steve Kerr can do if Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green are going to be as bad as Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green were in this game tonight. -26 for Steph, -23 for Klay, -27 for Draymond. Wiggins was a -16. And so you look at it, and when your best three players were on the court tonight, you were bad because they were bad. And so you got to look in the mirror. And look, it's going to be the same three that lead the Warriors to a win in Game 4 or a win in this series if the Warriors come back and take the series. And so, yeah, there are ancillary things that can be done, but I think the overarching theme is your best players have to play better and play more disciplined. And again, I keep coming back to, I don't think the Warriors let up, because they're not that foolish or disrespectful to how talented the Lakers are and how good they are defensively, and LeBron and Anthony Davis, but they just, I think, reverted when they got up 11 to just a lackadaisical offensive focus, which turned into all of these turnovers that allowed the Lakers to get back in the game quick, fast, and in a hurry. And then once the game was close, it basically turned into an avalanche going the other way. 888-957-957. Let's go rapid fire here. Armand in San Jose next on Warriors Wrap Up here tonight on 95.7 The Game. What do you got, Armand?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, JD? Hey,
what's going on, man?
I know I saw what I saw in the second quarter, so rest talk aside, I'm going to say this. All that definitely stopped the momentum we had, but I do want to say that play with Steph and Clay, that miscommunication, I had a bad feeling about that, because I was just thinking, we were pretty much kicking their butts at that point. We missed some good looks. JaMychal Green didn't have that three ball going early on. There was a few looks from Steph. Maybe he wished he had that. But I just felt that we did let up. We had that lead. We looked like we were getting to go on a run and just run them out of the arena. And, Clay not looking up on that fast break and Steph trying to get him. Who do you blame? Clay for not being ready, Steph for not making sure he saw it. I don't know, but that was bad. Simply put, I think we just lost our cool with everything that was going on. And it was just hard for us to maintain enough composure and play through it. And this happens sometimes. Each team, JD, in the playoffs gets a blowout victory typically, especially if it goes long. So we won a piece in terms of blowout victories. Now we just got to come back Monday and win the game. One thing I do want to say is keep attacking the paint and attack with force. And it's real key for Andrew Wiggins. That dunk that he had on Davis, we need him to play aggressively like that athletically. This is not the series to just be doing weak layups. You 6'8", athletic as hell. Go up there for the dunk and smash and send a message. One thing, JD, and I know you got other callers on, I don't want to see us play soft, like helping AD. I'm sorry. You just stop being nice. Go after these guys, because as far as I'm concerned, I think this is a tough matchup, but it's not a bad matchup. If we just play smart and disciplined, when we were doing that, we had it easy. The Lakers are solid, but it's like you said, Steph, Clay, and Dre, this is where you got to earn your money. This is about the stars right now, all the DiVincenzo, whatever. No, Steph, we need you to take over and stop doing the dumb turnovers. You're getting more turnovers in some of these games than assists. So pretty much Steph, Clay, and Dre, get it together, lead the way. We need more from Poole. I do agree with you. We may have to see a little bit more of Jonathan Kuminga. Hopefully he could be a spark plug the way Moody was for Sacramento.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, Armand. Yeah, I'm not against it there. I'm with you on Wiggins. I think that was the biggest takeaway, and a lot of good points there from you, Armand, as usual. But Wiggins has to be in attack mode. You have to get some tough twos against this Laker defense, and that's something Wiggins can do, and Wiggins did in this game. And you got to be careful how you attack in the paint. The Warriors did a bad job attacking in the paint in Game 1. They shot that horrific percentage in the paint in that game. You look at tonight, 22 of 41, 44 points in the paint. It was basically even in terms of points in the paint. The Lakers, a little more efficient in there, but tonight was really about the free throw difference. And tonight was the Lakers won the three ball difference tonight. Lakers are +6 from three. And, we talked about the 21 and 21 and who got the benefit of, I was the one thing coming into this one that I thought was definitely not going to keep up was the fact that the Warriors weren't going to average 23-point makes for this series. If they did, they were probably going to win it in 5. But again, anybody that's watched them come down and play in this building over the years knew that probably wasn't going to continue at the level that it had been. And so they ended up losing the 3-point make percentage, not only percentage but total to the Lakers in this one. All right, a couple more calls here. Wyatt is next. Hey Wyatt, you're on Warriors Wrap Up.
Hey JD, how's it going again?
Aloha Wyatt, you're in Hawaii. Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, I called in, the last time I called in was game 1 after a loss, and, this time after a loss. I just think, you hit it on the point where, we play lackadaisical today. We turned the ball over so much today that, we couldn't pick ourselves up afterwards. And I just felt like, normally when we turn the ball over, it's, I don't know what the number is, but it could be 10 turnovers or less that we turn the ball over, we win. I think.
Yeah, thanks, Wyatt. I'm going to jump in, Wyatt. Wyatt. The 19 isn't going to cut it. 27 points off of the turnovers isn't going to cut it. It's got to get cleaned up. And, they did play the way that they played, and then seemingly once they got in control, they just played a little bit looser, a little less focused. Again, you knew the game wasn't going to be over. I mean, it's not like the Lakers weren't going to make a freaking run. They're playing at home in Game 3. The crowd's into it. It's a Saturday night showcase game. I mean, 40-29 was not some massive lead, like you were just going to coast to victory. But it was almost as if the Warriors, for a couple of minutes stretch there, thought, "Hey, we got him, we got him." And no, you didn't get him. In fact, the game was basically tied in a blink because the turnovers were so catastrophically ugly. And then from there, it was all downhill. All right, Charlie is going to be the last call of the night, and we'll hear a little Steve Kerr and a little Draymond Green, and we'll set our sights toward Monday. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, JD. Evening. How you doing? I'll be quick.
Good.
I agree with you fully. The Warriors have to go small. They got to get Poole in the starting lineup, which scares the life out of me because of Poole being so.
It is a roll of the dice, isn't it, Charlie? That is a big-time roll of the dice, but I think you got to go all in.
But before the series started, I always felt this was a Draymond Green series. If he plays well, like he did in Game 2, excellent, they win. Game 1 and Game 4 tonight, he stunk. He's the only one that can disrupt Davis. And I agree with you. When the Warriors are running at that frenetic pace, it keeps the Lakers on their heels. And you could see how LeBron gets gassed. He picks and chooses his spots now because of his age and everything like that. And they just got to go. They got to push the pace. And finally, and it's more wishful thinking. Wiggins, we need Wiggins from last year. And I don't know if the 2 months off or the 2 months off from what he was dealing with. He has to take it up a notch. If we can get that some semblance of Wiggins, then I think we'll be in good shape. But this is a Draymond Green series, in my opinion. Anyway, I'll keep listening, JD. Have a good night.
Yep. Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it. Charlie checking in here, 888-957-9570. Some notes from this one real quick before we hear from Steve Kerr. I've mentioned a couple of these. Second time in this year's playoffs, the Warriors have been held to under 40% shooting. Again, that ugly Game 6 loss to the Kings popping up here again, and the Lakers scored the 41 in the fourth quarter. Game was basically over at that point, but the most points allowed in that quarter in a playoff game for the Warriors ever. You got to go back to 2019 against the Clippers and 1967, where the Warriors did that as well. Stephen Curry, 20 points in every playoff game this season. He had 23 tonight. Andrew Wiggins, 9 rebounds tonight. Just a tough night for the Warriors from top to bottom once things got close there toward the end of the second quarter. Let's hear a couple of minutes of the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr. He met with the media here at the Crypto.com Arena. We'll get a little Draymond. We'll call it a night here at the top of the 10 o'clock hour and let everybody clear their heads and start to focus on Monday and Game 4. Here's the head coach.
Steve, what do you think happened offensively with you guys in the second and third quarters? It just didn't seem like there was a lot of spacing. Did you think things were going well, or was the shots just not going out? What did you think went on there?
We had a lot of turnovers in the second quarter when we lost that lead. I think we were up 11. We started turning it over and then taking quick shots, and that fed into their transition and their ability to get to the foul line. So I thought that's when the game changed.
They mentioned after Game 6 of the last series that didn't like the energy of it. Did you see the energy in this game?
No, I mean that point from in the mid-second quarter, we had control of the game. We were in pretty good shape, and that's when we lost our poise. I think we might have had 4 technicals in the first half, and 12 turnovers at halftime. So you're on the road. You're going against a great team, a great defensive team in particular, and the crowd is going to be into it. Got to be more poised than we were.
What makes it difficult sometimes to regain that poise? Because there have been times throughout the seasons, really, you guys will go down, but muster up enough to get back into it. So why was it harder to regain the poise tonight?
Well, the tough environment. I mean, you're on the road in a playoff game. It's easier in the regular season to respond to a tough stretch. Everything is magnified in the playoffs, and a bad stretch can turn into a longer stretch. Against a team like the Lakers that has been playing well and is very good defensively and obviously has some great players. So we kind of, I thought, let our foot off the gas, and Lakers took advantage of it, and they were great. They dominated the game.
They put Reeves on Steph. Did that kind of scramble things at all, or was it just a tough shooting and turnover night for Steph generally?
Just a tough night for everybody, really. I mean, we had 25 assists and 19 turnovers. Those aren't good numbers for us. Those 19 turnovers turned into 27 points. They shot 20 more free throws than we did. So you put all those numbers together, and this was a Laker game. Dominating from the foul line and getting out in transition based on us not having good offensive possession. So they controlled it.
Clay specifically, I think, had 6 turnovers. Did you think he was rushing things? Did you think?
Yeah, I thought all of our guys were in a little bit of a rush. They're trying hard to make plays, and we just got out of sorts, out of rhythm.
Is this one of those where everyone just kind of gives each other space, or was there a message from someone involved, and what was it?
Nope, just, everybody's obviously down, and, we just lost by 30 in a playoff game, so nobody's happy.
Steve, are you worried that some of those same pitfalls from Game 1 popped up in Game 3 again after you just saw them, after you just made the adjustments? Do you want to see if you can equalize the seesaw between games?
I'm very confident in our team and our ability to bounce back.
What was the perspective you had on the 2 challenge calls on Draymond? The one, the first one that the Lakers had, and then the one that you guys had.
I didn't see any replays of either. So I rely on the guys behind our bench and to determine whether we should challenge. And there's a lot that goes into that. But given that when we challenged, I think it was Draymond's 4th foul, if I'm not mistaken. So block charges are tough to get overturned generally. Ours didn't get overturned, unfortunately, but theirs did.
All right, so Steve Kerr there, very confident in his team's ability to bounce back. I think that the major takeaway. Yeah, the momentum really stalling in the second quarter. The turnovers obviously part of it. The fouling, bad shots, all of those things, forcing things. Rough Klay Thompson game after a really hot Klay Thompson start in this one, as he winds up with the 6 turnovers, more turnovers than makes. And yeah, interesting when you look at the Draymond fouls, is he ended up in foul trouble and had 5 fouls. 3 of those fouls were basically block charge fouls with Davis, and all 3, he went 0 for 3 tonight. And there were a couple of reviews as well. The Lakers challenged one that got overturned. Steve Kerr challenged one that didn't get overturned. And it was just that kind of night as for Draymond, similar to the way things played out in Game 1 with the Lakers getting the win in that one. All right, let's hear a couple of minutes of Draymond, as he was asked a lot, I'm told, about the officiating, and let's hear what he had to say. Did he hold back, or did he let her rip on the officials tonight post Game 3?
You guys had a pretty good lead early in the second quarter, then everything just seemed to stop. What do you think happened there?
The game stopped. We on the free throw line every time.
Were you satisfied, happy with the way the refs called that?
It is what it is. Game over now. Don't matter if I'm satisfied or don't matter.
What does that do to a team mentally to keep having the game stop and keep having the fouls pile up?
It's frustrating.
Can you take anything away from this game into next game? Is there any lesson learned from this game, and what is it if so?
Play better.
Draymond, I think they called you for 2 blocking fouls, which seems very frustrating. How do you play defense? How do you play good, solid defense in the postseason when...
Just keep playing defense I'm playing. Maybe they'll call it. Maybe they won't. We'll see.
Steve was saying how he felt, especially middle second quarter on, you guys started to just lose your composure. Why is it hard to sometimes regain that composure?
I don't know. The game's still going on, so everything that's happening is still happening. You just try to figure it out as you go.
Did this feel similar to game one? I mean, just the free throw count would be one similarity, or do you think this was a different kind of stylistic game than that?
Well, I think it's pretty similar.
Draymond, what sort of explanations have you got through the playoffs of, like, what's the interpretation of what's a block and a charge?
You don't really get explanations these days.
Well, I guess how do you adapt to different interpretations?
I won't adapt. I'm going to keep playing the same defense I've played for 11 years.
Sorry, this is a tricky one to ask, but when you're talking with the referees, do you feel like they're at least listening? Do you feel like guys from both teams can make a case about what's frustrating them?
I don't know. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Depends.
What did you think was happening offensively? They switched up the matchups a little bit. They put Reeves on Steph.
Yeah, we was getting to what we wanted to get to. Then the game stopped.
Dre, is there a way you can get, considering how they're calling it, that you guys can get more free throws yourselves?
I don't know. I think we're going to the rim. So, I don't know. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. We'll see.
Yeah, and a couple of different things there. As Draymond making the point, the game stopped. And the momentum in that time, and this all coincided with that 12-minute stretch where the Warriors had 12 points. The Lakers went to the free throw line 22 times in that stretch. And so they're able to set their defense, which makes it tougher for the Warriors to be able to score. And, yeah, I do think Draymond probably held back a little bit. But there's no doubt a much more similar game to Game 1, which has been the template for the Lakers. We'll see if the Warriors can't make Game 4 much more of the template to the way Game 2 looked, which turned out to be a game where the Warriors were able to get into their flow and the Lakers couldn't quite keep up. All right, we'll call it a night on that note. Good stuff from Draymond, good stuff from Steve Kerr, great stuff from the callers and the texters tonight here at 888-957-9570 and on the Comcast Business text line as well. Warriors set to have practice here in L.A. tomorrow, and then we'll see if that continues to be the plan, and then we'll reconvene on Monday right back here at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Thanks to Sterling Bennett. Thanks to Cameron Williams. Thanks to everybody in our San Francisco studios. Excellent work all day long, these double-day Saturdays with the Warriors This Week show in the morning, and then Warriors Live and Warriors wrap-up after the ball games. These are long days. There's a lot of people back in the studio doing a hell of a job to keep us on the air and keep everything in order, and so we appreciate the help of everyone for the job that they are doing back in San Francisco. All right, we'll talk to you on Monday, as I'll be on with Steiny and Guru, I think at some point in the 1 o'clock hour on Monday leading up to Game 4, and then Warriors Live at 6 o'clock as the Warriors and Lakers play Game 4 of this Western semifinal series right back here, 7 o'clock tip on 95.7 The Game. So Lakers get the better of the Dubs tonight, 127-97. We'll talk to you Monday. You heard it all right here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait!